Hey everyone out there, I'm glad y'all could join me. I hope you're having a great day wherever you're at. My name is Larry and you're watching the movie Cranks, where today I'm going to be taking a look at another Mike Flanagan Netflix team up starring Hamish Linklater, Kate Siegel, and Zach Gilford, Midnight Mass. So you could actually break this synopsis down for Midnight Mass through many different eyes of the many different characters here involved in the series, each time having a different synopsis. So for the sake of this review, I'm going to choose the one with the least amount of spoilers. Riley Flynn, a man haunted by a drunk driving accident that kills a young girl, returns to his hometown of Crockett Island after 4 years in prison, where he struggles to find his purpose in life. But when the mysterious Father Paul comes to town, bringing with him miracles, the townspeople eat and drink whatever sacrament is served from the palm of his hand. Midnight Mass has affected me. Not the same way or in the same manner that Hill House did. Unlike Hill House, nothing here is hidden. We know exactly from the get-go what is going on and what it is, even if Flanagan here never really tells us, or the town never calls it out, we do know. And that makes Midnight Mass its own very different series. A series that pulls together conversation after deep conversation, debating just about every facet of devoting oneself to a higher power, all while intertwining this creature feature in the mix, using the words of the Bible to describe and validate this angel and explain what's happening to this town. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to spoil too much. There's a lot that happens in this series, and I just don't want to just tell you everything. I want you to experience this for yourself. And Flanagan here did the same thing. He leaves it open for you to have your own interpretation at the end, and so I will too. And while handled intelligently, I get it if some of you out there may feel this is a little too wordy, or if you wanted more answers, that's completely understandable. Even though personally I was riveted and I was still curious, I wanted some of those answers too, and I felt like maybe I missed something. And I felt this way so much, in fact, I actually went back and watched it again, each time coming out with different outcomes, but no solid answers, leaving me simply just torn here. In a good way, though. It didn't change my final verdict, but it felt like two separate experiences, and Flanagan here, he is a master at utilizing stuff like this, the passion and the emotions, the love, the hate, the depression, the addiction, the racism, narcissism, religion, spirituality, and the power of free will, all things he touches on here in Midnight Mass, telling a story about family and community, life in small towns, rural fishing towns, that seems lost in time. Cut away from the rest of the world by the sea, their TVs here are actually still tube TVs with rabbit ears. There's no cars that I really did see on the island. People need to walk from one place to the next, and except for a few moments, I didn't even see any cell phones. There's even a moment here during a blackout where the church is lit only by candlelight. I mean, if you didn't know it, you would think this was a period piece that was set back in the 1800s. The cinematography here to create all this was beautiful. The way it adapted this to modern time, setting a clear path and vision, utilizing its slow burn pace, this film dissects faith and its ancient traditions to include the more darker facets of religion that terrify some people, setting the tone and the pacing through your thought process and your imagination, not through the process of just having CGI ghosts thrown at you. Instead here, Flanagan uses practical effects, good and bad. I will talk about that. The creature here looks terrifying. It's kind of like the creeper from Jeepers Creepers. If you tore its head off, I suspect it probably would grow a new one. And there's also a more cheesy aging effect that's used here during filming that will have you a little mystified on the casting choices, just being honest. But then it all merges together to eventually create a setting for this unlikely creature feature to emerge, where the less you know, the better. But even more so, at the core and the center for the success of Midnight Mass is its actors and their performances, and none other plays a larger role in this than Father Paul himself, Hamish Linklater. So much depends on his genuine, charming, and charismatic performance here. Linklater channels the powerful magnetism of the cloth to lure not just the townspeople of the island stalked by their own personal demons to this church, but the viewers as well. His skillfully smooth and poetic sermons are simply powerful and mesmerizing. Personally, all I could think while watching this go on, especially I think it was in episode 5, it could have been 6, but it ends his sermon here and he's just like, and that is God. Holy shit. Where was this guy when I was going to church? I mean, that at least would have kept me awake, enthused, and involved. I would actually went out and told my friends about it, be like, hey guys, guess what? You gotta come to my church. My preacher is a fucking insane, crazy motherfucker. He's a passionate preacher, but never really lets us get complacent. He thinks he's closer than ever to finding God, but there's just something off about Father Paul this entire series, whose faith sometimes bears, like I said just a second ago, a creepish similarity to straight up madness. And you can't talk about this series without talking about Bev Keane. That fucking crazy y'all crazy bitch. And I hate to say it that way, but it's true. It's written right into her character. And the way Flanagan uses this psycho as one of the heads of the church, the Little Miss fundraiser, but in pretense, she's borderline something way more evil and way more venomous. At times, talking like a possessed child with no remorse. She is outstanding as a villain here. And I can't say that enough. I mean, she can't even see what's standing right in front of her. And honestly, if she did, I don't think she would even have cared. She has that backstabbing, self-righteous brand of narcissism. I am the hand of God. The type of personality and person that believes in their head they can do no wrong. And if she is, it's only under God's approval. She gives an intense, incredible performance. When she's on screen, you know it. You just can't get that icky feeling off you. She's always about to do something fucked up in the name of God. There's also Kate Siegel and Zach Gilford, who are extraordinary, but only at their best when they're paired together on screen, where they share this great chemistry, even though their relationship never even comes to a single kiss. Probably because Siegel is Flanagan's wife, but you can feel that tension between the two. They both are damaged souls. They both find themselves back in a place they just can't seem to escape. Home. Riley no longer believes and is still torturing himself with this guilt over the accident. There's even an amazing scene here with him and Linklater where he describes how he deals with his addiction, saying he finds that part of him, that demon inside, separates it, moves forward day by day. A scene that on the second watch didn't contain that same power that I felt the first time, and honestly just felt a little overly long. And another, we have Riley and Aaron here who are having their own discussion about death, and I found myself, again, kind of wanting to fall asleep. It's beautifully written, so on the second viewing, I just didn't have that same feeling. The first time I was like, wow, this is amazing dialogue. But this is also where, I gotta be honest, I started to run into some of those issues that I mentioned earlier, having two different outcomes. During each watch, on the first watch, I thought the dialogue here between Riley and Aaron and Father Paul was exceptionally written, and it is, to a point of being like a poetic sermon, but it's just so long, 10 minutes or so, where the whole show just stops while they just give you this big, huge dump of wordy dialogue. People just don't talk like that in real life, which brings me to the ending of this because I was kind of wanting something more to happen. And this is first and second viewing here. The answers would have been nice, but if not, maybe for the townspeople to have a revelation, to stand up, which I guess they kind of do, or even if Riley himself at the end, in the final moments, seeing the young girl tragically killed, then the sky opens up and they walk off into the light, all while in the background the creature is being pulled into the ground that now looks like lava, bringing everything to a full circle, giving the young girl an actual purpose, which is something I had a problem with because you think she's going to play a huge part, and she really doesn't have a purpose. Instead, it feels like it's sequel baits. I don't know, just something more, like I said. Even though the ending here was still very satisfying, it raised too many issues with me. And here's another one, like how the kids, they don't know if what they have is a permanent issue. What would happen later in life when they get to the end? They're literally spreading this to the entire world, doing exactly what they're trying to stop. It's an ending on that first watch I thought was very smart, but when I thought about it more deeply, I kept finding more issues, things like why they had nowhere to go to seek refuge, not under a canoe, a cardboard box, maybe even a blanket, anything. And when you think it's over, Flanagan just doubles down on that dialogue, revisiting the prior episode with another wordy scene, something I personally didn't need in that final dump of dialogue about the cosmos. And yet, the wordy dialogue and all, Midnight Mass still finds interesting ways to pull you along. It's a simmering pot of small town tensions and clashing beliefs, just lights that fuse for an explosive, although very wordy resolution. It's a final mystery that is satisfyingly unpredictable. More to the point, it delivers the monsters that keep us up at night, supernatural or otherwise. I'll give Midnight Mass an A-. If he just would have doubled down on the supernatural instead of the wordy dialogue at the end, I think my experience, at least on that second viewing, would have been a little better. Still, I loved my first experience, and I would recommend this series to any Stephen King or horror buff out there. It's a beautiful retrospective about religion, small towns, and the human condition. So Midnight Mass, have you seen it? What'd you think? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts, but until next time guys, I'll see you later.
That's all, guys. So get the hell out of here. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for more of The Movie Cranks.